Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Daydreamer. Welcome to Guild Wars 2 commentary. We haven't done these in a while. Let's go ahead and just do one since I'm kind of inspired to do it. I have been playing as of recent the new Living Story Season 3 map, Bloodstone Fen, and I've been loving it. I've been loving it to the point where I started actually playing on my max level characters in Guild Wars 2. Every now and then, whenever I'm rendering a video, or whenever I'm going through other processes in the background for video making, or when I have some free time, I'll actually get on Guild Wars 2 and play for a little bit. And the weird thing is, this is the first time I started playing my max level characters since Heart of Thorns release, or 6 months past Heart of Thorns release. At a certain point, after doing the final big battle with Mordramoth, spoiler alert, in Guild Wars 2 Heart of Thorns, I did the meta event and then I dropped it. I literally put the game down and I didn't want to play. I didn't want to play on my max level characters because of the monotony that I went leading up to that point, and then having a very anticlimactic end and finish to the boss, which I made a video about before in the past, and that's it. There's nothing else to it. It just ended. The Mordramoth, the big dragon vine thing, just impaled itself on a tree bark, and that was over. It was propped up on a nice little position for us to take little screenshots with, and that's it. Everything else is done. And that left me extremely bitter, because when I thought Guild Wars 2 Heart of Thorns was going to expand on Guild Wars 2, I thought it was going to expand on what I received in Guild Wars 2. By contrary belief, I actually enjoyed what Guild Wars 2 was. And no matter what if people said the mobs were easy, the mechanics were non-existent, dungeons were mundane, this and that was bad in Guild Wars 2 Vanilla 1, or just vanilla, I liked it. I actually liked it. Because it gave me a reason to get on and play, and if I really wanted to pursue difficult content, I could go into dungeons. I don't know why everything was forced or funneled down into Heart of Thorns, or why developers thought it might have been a really good idea to do that. What ended up happening is people got thrown off when it came to playing Guild Wars 2 Heart of Thorns. Now, please understand, there have been selective few people out there that actually liked what Heart of Thorns brought in. The people that wanted harder mobs, the people wanted to actually move out of the mechanics, people that wanted to feel like they're playing an MMO and not just playing button masher while the character stands in place, that want to dodge out of things, that want to be able to get around mechanics, work with a break bar, crowd control enemies before they take them out, or try to power through with tanky gear, whatever. People wanted something a little more difficult, and that's fine. If you wanted something more challenging, that's completely fine. But instead of putting it in the entire map, there should have been little pocket areas where people can go into those areas and actually pursue that kind of stuff. I mean, that only makes sense, right? I'm pretty sure I'm not the only person that actually thinks that. What Heart of Thorns should have done is introduce players to maybe slightly couple mobs every now and then that actually have certain mechanics they need to look out for, a little more times to dodge, a little more times to actually crowd control, avoid certain things, break bars, and ease the player in rather than just shove them and funnel them into this area that wants to just kill them. In my opinion, that was probably not the best way to introduce the expansion, because a lot of people got in thinking, oh, alright, we'll see what Guild Wars 2 expands on, and it didn't really expand. Well, it did expand on certain things, for sure. It is an expansion. It's just a very jarring expansion. Now, I've been through 3 different expansions in total. I've been through World of Draenor expansion of 2015. I've been through Heart of Thorns expansion and through Heaven's Ward expansion in Final Fantasy XIV. World of Warcraft for the first month was fun, but then lack of content kind of killed it and I dropped it. In Guild Wars 2, when I first entered, the first month was hell, and after I got used to it and started learning about new maps, it was still very frustrating, so it left me with a very bitter, frustrated feeling. I just didn't want to play it. It was too much for me. I didn't want to go through it and sit through the metas and watch the timers and join groups. I didn't want to do that. That's not fun. Watching out for timers, watching out for different events and joining different parties just so I do the meta events. What for? So I can get gear? Or so I can get materials? To do what then? I can't do anything with materials. Like, I'm not a crafter in the games. In MMOs, in general MMOs, I'm not a crafter. What am I going to do with materials that I get from those meta events? Make gear? If I really wanted to level up a crafting profession, I would, but Guild Wars 2 crafting is not something that attracts me, at least from the start. It looks interesting if I put time on it, but it's just not something that attracts me. Simple as that. Not a lot of people out there are crafters in MMOs, and I'm one of them. I just don't find it interesting crafting. And the worst part about it in Guild Wars 2 Heart of Thorns is that Even now thinking about all the jungle maps that were added, it just brings up this very bitter, frustrating feeling that makes me want to push away from them. And that's why I didn't want to play them. I just generally had no enjoyment playing them. And at a certain point I realized that I'm not enjoying it as much as I want it and force myself to enjoy it. I can't. I tried changing a build. I tried changing a class. I even boosted a Reaper. I boosted a freaking Reaper so I could play it. And it was pretty fun for the first time because I was actually playing a power-based build that actually was really good. But Mesmer, when I first got into Mesmer, I really did not like the idea of changing everything that I loved about Mesmer just so I can fit into the Chronomancer niche. Specializations alone didn't feel like they expanded on the game. It felt like they actually funneled me into a specialization that I had to be with, or else I would just be not needed in a group or a raid or a PvP match. The Mesmer specialization Chronomancer actually plays an important role in raids, has a pretty decent role to play in PvP, and overall is a great specialization to have. I didn't think that the game would force me into it. The fact that it added it is kind of neat, but I don't want to be able to just run into it, and run it all the time just to feel competent. Yeah, I could run other specializations out there, but after seeing how everything is pretty much built around Chronomancer succeeding, the other specializations become absolutely obsolete. I mean, yeah, sure, I can go back to the other specializations and try to run those, but Chronomancer is literally set up to be one of the better utilities out there and one of the better specializations out there. I kind of lucked out with Chronomancer and with Mesmer, and being forced into a Chronomancer did not feel like it expanded onto something. It felt like it funneled me down. You might be asking yourself, Daydreamer, why would you even play Guild Wars 2 if you generally don't find displeasure in playing it? If you don't like these particular things, why would you be even sitting down to make this video? Because Living Story Season 3 kind of made me want to come back to Guild Wars 2 and actually made me have fun. It was enjoyable. And I realized why it was enjoyable. First of all, the map is not big. The map is decently sized. In fact, the map is kind of small. And the weird thing is, I like how small it is. It doesn't take long to get from one event to another. It doesn't take long to change elevation, going up and down, using the boost mushrooms or using the gusts of wind, the gale winds or whatever they're called. Take me literally a minute, less than a minute, to go from one side of the map to the other. From going from middle ground all the way to the top elevation. Another thing I really liked about the new map, no contested waypoints. None. Nada. There may be like 4 in there in total. And I've never seen either one of them ever be contested. They're in a safe location, in a safe area spread out across the map. Some higher elevation, some lower elevation, to be a place that a player ports to and then runs around to try to find his own or her own adventure. And I like that. Third thing that I liked, out of any mastery that was added for that map, there was only one. Only one. Very easy, very simple, very self-explanatory mastery to add to itself, just to enhance the experience in Guild Wars 2 and that particular map. It doesn't affect, that one mastery doesn't really affect any other part of Heart of Thorns, it just affects Bloodstone Fen. But it's fine, because that mastery works for it, and there's only one of them to complete, it doesn't gate you behind anything, and it's simple. You just run around, do events that are close by, nearby, you do all the events, collect things up. You can even go up and fly around and glide around and collect experience balls. I'm not sure what they're called, but they're just these lovely balls of magic that gain you experience when you collect them. And as somebody who likes collectibles in games, I had a blast just going up to the highest elevation and gliding my way down little by little, collecting these experience orbs and just building up my experience and actually getting my mastery completed through that way, aside from doing events. It was fun. It was a simple yet very nicely put together map. The entire map has actually inspired slight enthusiasm for me to get back into the game and actually level other classes, to go back to that map and explore more of it. In fact, I started leveling a Char Guardian because I wanted a Paladin-like class from playing, Paladin in Final Fantasy XIV and World of Warcraft for a really long time, and I thought what would be cool is to make a Char and to make it a Guardian. Just so I can level that character all the way to level 80, right? Just to go to that map and have a blast playing it. And in one day, roughly one day, as soon as this video is uploaded, there'll be another map, another chapter to the Living Story Season 3 added, which will get us to the Ring of Fire, which will add another map and another areas for us to explore and run around in. And if the Ring of Fire is similar or anything like to Bloodstone Fen in the size, the feel, and anything else I mentioned, it's gonna be a success. And in fact, I would like to say that I would absolutely love if ArenaNet were to make another expansion in the future or to take a direction anywhere, is to make maps like Bloodstone Fen. Bloodstone Fen is great for endgame content. It's small enough so you don't have to travel across a bunch of places and get killed by mobs. It has waypoints that are uncontested. It has fun little things for you to do in between. And although it looks kind of like a mess, it's a lot easier to understand than any of the Heart of Thorns maps. Smaller maps, packed with a lot of fun stuff, work a lot better than convoluted maps that confuse the hell out of a player. Not everybody's gonna share my opinion. Some people may still see the Heart of Thorns maps as the pinnacle of game development and pinnacle of MMO maps out there ever, and that's fine. If you like them, I'm glad. I'm just one of the people out there that simply doesn't like it. And I will gladly make this video out there and put this video out there to let people know that, and to also hopefully let ArenaNet know that please make more stuff like Bloodstone Fen. Bloodstone Fen is so good, is so enjoyable, and so entertaining. And I really would like to see more of the kind of stuff like this. And the one thing I'm gonna say is, less masteries, ArenaNet, please, for love of God, less masteries, or masteries that don't affect gameplay. Please. My name is Thorns. Thanks so much for watching, I really hope you enjoyed. Like, subscribe, and as always, have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. See ya!